This is the story of such a village, a haven of serenity and simplicity, nestled amidst rolling hills and bathed in the golden glow of the sun. The village, a picturesque tableau of rustic charm, is a testament to the beauty of a life lived simply but fully. The village is not just a place, but a living, breathing entity. Its heartbeat is the rhythmic thud of the blacksmith's hammer, the chime of the potter's wheel, the rustle of the wind through the wheat fields, and the laughter of children echoing through the narrow, winding lanes. In this village, every dawn is a symphony of colors, every dusk a serene painting. The homes, made of sun-baked bricks and thatched roofs, stand in a harmonious blend with the lush green fields and the clear blue sky. The air is pure, the water fresh, and the soil fertile. But the real charm of the village is its inhabitants, a band of merry folk who wear their hearts on their sleeves and their smiles as their richest ornament. They are farmers, weavers, potters, and blacksmiths, each playing their part in the symphony of village life. Their lives are simple, their hearts pure, and their bonds strong. The villagers share a deep sense of community. They celebrate together, mourn together, work together, and most importantly, they laugh together. Their hearts beat in unison, their dreams interwoven like the threads of the weaver's loom. This village, their home, is their heart and soul. Love for the village is a sentiment echoed in every heart, a song sung in every home. It's the air that they breathe, the water that they drink, the soil that they till. Their love for the village is a love carved deep into their hearts, as deep as the roots of the ancient banyan tree that stands tall in the village square. In this idyllic setting, however, was a king like no other. Our story isn't complete without mentioning the king, a man of righteousness and compassion. Now, this king wasn't your run-of-the-mill monarch. He was a man of the people, a beacon of justice and a vessel of kindness. He ruled not from a lofty throne, but from a seat of understanding and wisdom. Picture this, a king who knew every one of his subjects by name. He was as compassionate as the morning sun, warming the hearts of his people, and his wisdom was as deep as the village well. His rule was the thread that wove the fabric of the village's harmony and prosperity. The king's decisions were always just, guided by an unwavering moral compass that pointed towards fairness and equality. Now let's delve into some anecdotes that highlight his wisdom and kindness. There was a time when two villagers came to him, each claiming ownership of the same piece of land. Instead of choosing one over the other, the king proposed a solution. He asked them to cultivate the land together and share the harvest equally. This decision not only solved the dispute but also fostered a bond of friendship between the two villagers. On another occasion, a farmer's crops failed due to a prolonged drought. The king, upon hearing this, offered his own royal granary to support the farmer and his family until the next harvest. His actions were never about showcasing power, but always about nurturing his people and ensuring their welfare. The king's righteousness extended beyond his people. He respected all forms of life. Stories abound of how he would walk the extra mile to avoid stepping on an antlion, or how he forbade the felling of trees unless absolutely necessary. His respect for nature was a testament to his wisdom, understanding that the health of his people depended on the health of the land. But as we all know, even in the most peaceful places, challenges can arise. And that's where our story takes an interesting turn. But more on that in the next chapter. Peace, as they say, is often fleeting. A challenge was about to test the mettle of our king and his peaceful village. Now imagine, if you will, a wave of uncertainty washing over the tranquil landscape. Yes, folks, a challenge had arrived, and it was no small hurdle. It was a colossal conundrum, a veritable mountain of a problem, threatening to overshadow the village's tranquility. The villagers were, understandably, in a state of disarray. Their lives, once marked by serenity and routine, were now filled with unease. Their eyes were filled with fear, their hearts heavy with worry. The once bustling marketplace was now a sea of hushed whispers, the air thick with apprehension. The joyous laughter of children playing in the streets was replaced by the anxious murmurings of concerned parents. The challenge, whatever it was, had cast a long dark shadow over the village. And what of the king, you ask? Well, our righteous king was not immune to this wave of uncertainty. The challenge had reached the doors of his castle as well, casting its ominous shadow over the king's countenance. His usual jovial demeanor was replaced by a thoughtful frown, his eyes reflecting the weight of responsibility he carried. He understood the gravity of the situation, the threat it posed to his beloved village, and yet his spirit remained unbroken. But let's not forget, our king wasn't just a figurehead, he was a beacon of hope, a pillar of strength for his people. His resolve was as steady as a ship sailing through a storm, never faltering, never wavering. The challenge may have been great, but the king's determination was greater. In the face of adversity, the king stood tall, his eyes fixed on the horizon, his mind working tirelessly to find a solution. His heart ached for his people, his village, but he knew that fear was a luxury he could not afford. Not when his village needed him the most. With the village in turmoil, all eyes turned to the king. What would he do? In times of adversity, true leaders shine, and our king was no exception. As the challenge loomed large, the king, with a heart full of courage and a mind brimming with wisdom, stepped up to the plate. He didn't just sit on his throne issuing orders. No, our king was a man of action. He was out there with his people facing the challenge head-on. His courage was contagious, his determination inspiring. The villagers who had initially been filled with fear started to feel a spark of hope. Maybe, just maybe, they could overcome this. But it wasn't just the king's courage that was remarkable, it was his wisdom too. He knew that brute force alone wouldn't solve their problem. There had to be a better way. So he put his mind to work, and soon he had it. An idea so clever, so ingenious, that it could only come from a mind as brilliant as his. And then there was his compassion. As the king, he could have easily prioritized his own safety, his own comfort, but he didn't. He put the welfare of his people above everything else. He made sure that everyone, from the youngest child to the oldest elder, was taken care of. His compassion wasn't just a trait, it was a beacon of hope for his people. His solution was as effective as it was heartwarming. It was a testament to his character, a reflection of his wisdom, courage, and compassion. The villagers, awed by their king's leadership, followed his plan to the letter. And just like that, the challenge was no more. And so, the village returned to its peaceful ways, a testament to the righteousness of its king. The villagers lived happily, their lives enriched by the wisdom of their benevolent leader. And the king, he continued to rule with the same wisdom, courage, and compassion that had seen them through the challenge. Because, after all, that's what true leaders do. They shine even in the face of adversity.